systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Ship It Nation Week 12 Cash Game Show. We have 11 games on the docket. Not a ton of injury news. I guess the one important thing we're waiting on is Josh Jacobs. Seems unlikely, I think, that he plays. I know a lot of projection sites have him out and Emmanuel Wilson in, and that's kind of how we have it, but kind of need clarification on that. But pretty clean. I mean, we have some quarterback news we're waiting on, but I don't think it impacts the slate really. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, but for the most part, a pretty clean slate. And it's kind of been the case for a majority of the season. And we talked about it, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but NFL is doing a pretty good job. The teams are doing a good job of getting the information out there. And we've known pretty much, well in advance, on a lot of these injury situations. So as always, joined by my guy Title, we'll go through and break it down, get you guys set up for some cash games this week. What's going on over there, and any initial week 12 thoughts?
Week 12 thoughts. 11 games, 4 in the afternoon window. The Josh Jacobs, we're going to talk like he's out. Makes Emmanuel Wilson a very, very strong play. Pretty much a lock in cash games, 5,300. I think there's like a couple plays that are really strong. Trey McBride on DraftKings. I mean, they're slowly but surely raising his price, but I just don't think enough. Shout out to FanDuel. Definitely got it right. 8.5 McBride, 7.4 Bowers, 6.5 Warren. Like, you see the gaps, and that's how the gap is right now. So more of a decision over on FanDuel than DraftKings. I think you're just going to play McBride, going to play Emmanuel Wilson, always like 2v2s, 3v3s nowadays. Excited to talk through the slate.
Yeah, we'll go through FanDuel, we'll go through DraftKings. We'll start on DraftKings. We will start at the quarterback position. And, initial thoughts for me at quarterback, probably going cheap and probably deciding between two quarterbacks that happen to be playing against each other. We'll get to that in a second. Sorting by just salary alone. Let me clear out these dudes that are not playing. Drake May, most expensive quarterback on the slate. Kind of surprising to see when the slate includes Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, but he's been very good, and he gets a really good matchup against this Bengals defense that probably is the worst in the NFL in terms of just stopping opponents on the offensive side. So Drake May at 6'9", probably not going there for cash. Got Mahomes, we got Lamar, got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones. To me, none of that sounds all that appealing. I'm going to sort by value, and I think you're probably playing, and you obviously are the expert in cash nowadays, so we'll definitely go to you on it, but Trevor Lawrence or Jacoby Brissett, seem like solid options. 5-3, 5-1, not a premium. The game looks nice. Total sitting around 48. Is it one of those two or anything else that might be in play here this week?
Yeah, first I got to say, I think we're even. You're dominating the head-to-heads. It's been a little tough over here. Got back in the winner's circle last week, but no, I think we're both, hey, Waddle call. I got to tail you more. But I think it's those two below, but I do think the May and Mahomes are in play. And when we go to the different positions, like that's going to be, I think, one of the decisions. You're playing Trey McBride, you're playing Emmanuel Wilson, but I think whether you want to spend up at quarterback for May or Mahomes, and I don't know. You can flip a coin. If you're going off of these projections, and I was staring at, I'd play Drake May. But I think it's really close. Like, Mahomes is going to get pushed against Indy. Like, that's the spots I look for. They're implied for 27 points. One of the most on the slate. New England's applied for 29. I'm looking at the stone for Cincy, D- pass defense, D+ rush. Like, this team's just terrible.
Yeah.
And Drake May has the rushing upside. So, I think May, Mahomes are super strong. But if I need to save money, Lawrence and Brissett. Brissett is just slinging it, whether they're up, whether they're down, whatever it may be. I got no problem with either of them. I think quarterback's going to be spread out, and it's definitely not a position I'm filling out first, since I guess I'll ask you, May or Mahomes if picking, and then Lawrence or Brissett if you're picking.
Pacheco just got ruled out, and I don't think that matters a ton for Mahomes, but maybe a little bit. I mean, just because they'll probably pass a little more, could lead to a couple more rush attempts for Mahomes. But with all that being said, I think I would just take the best matchup in football and probably go May over Mahomes if you have the money. And it is nice because like you can fill out the rest and come back. Like, are you playing one of the cheap guys or do you have the money to spend? And I think that's probably the move this week. But really, at the end of the day, like if you need to save money here, you're going to feel good with what you're left with. I mean, Brissett, like you said, just slinging it. And then Trevor Lawrence gets a really good matchup as well and is a little bit cheaper, 5,100. So I think you're going to be satisfied with what you end up with at quarterback regardless. And you have 4 solid options and maybe more. I mean, if you want to go, maybe the Jets keep it a little closer and Lamar Jackson has to bring it a little bit. So you have a ton of options, but they're all solid. You're not going to be disappointed, I think, with where you end up at quarterback.
Just looking at props, the rushing is pretty much the same, 24.5 May, 22.5 Mahomes. The passing a little more for Mahomes, pretty close, 272.5, 255.5 for May. And then the anytime touchdown, Mahomes plus 300, May plus 200. So I guess that's the difference right there. A little more rushing touchdown equity is what they're giving them. But yeah, I mean, really, really close on all of those. Quarterback's tough this week.
Yep. It's tough, but I mean, the options are solid. It's not like you're going to end up having to play someone you don't want to play. Like you're going to have solid options, but the decision is tough. Agree there. Going to running back, and the assumption is definitely Josh Jacobs is going to be out. If Josh Jacobs is out, the first click in cash games is Emmanuel Wilson, free square this week at 53. So that's one spot. Chase Brown should get all the work. Again, the workload last week. I just want to pull this up real quick. I know it was solid. How solid? Yeah, you got everything. You got 18 carries and 8 targets. So the potential for 24 touches ended up with 6 receptions. Or I guess the potential for 26 and ended up with 24 actual touches. That's elite at 6,200. And they're at home. I mean, they are underdogs, but when someone's getting that sort of work, it really doesn't matter all that much. I mean, I'd be fine going with those two. If you have money, Jahmyr Gibbs is in a very good spot at 83. Yeah, definitely Gibbs over Bijan for me. I mean, the Falcons, I mean, it is crazy to say that going from Penix to Kirk Cousins is a huge downgrade, but it's like massive. Like Kirk Cousins is terrible. Like, I mean, he can't. This offense is dead, I think, without Penix in there and Kirk Cousins in there. So it's going to be tough to click that Bijan name moving forward. I mean, he's good enough to definitely overcome all that. But, man, like if it's him or someone else, I'm going someone else. And the someone else this week is Gibbs, and they're at home and projected to score over 30. If you need another salary saver, Genty at home and probably the last spot where the Raiders are favored all season, 63. For some reason, they barely gave him any touches last week, any carries. You have to imagine they get back to him. But the matchup is tough, so I don't think like he's a lock by any means. So talk about the few that I mentioned, and then anyone else want to add and do the cash game consideration.
Not really. I mean, it's you're playing Emmanuel Wilson, assuming Jacobs is out. You're playing Chase Brown. He's 6,200. DraftKings didn't do good enough. And then from there, like it's not a guaranteed 3 running back week by any means. When we get to the tight end position, again, I said it from the top, but I just think DraftKings is continuing to undervalue these tight ends and their roles. Their prices are just way too cheap. So double tight end right now is my lean. If I'm playing another running back, I do think Gibbs is my favorite. Like you're saying, I mean, big favorites. He's just so good at football too. Like the upside's there. Campbell's willing. I actually love Campbell calling plays for you guys. Like he understands that maybe you don't agree, but
yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I like the big talk this week is like the 4th down stuff, but man, the Eagles.
Well, that's not going for it. I mean, that's decision making. Like he's making those as a head coach. Like
correct. Yeah. No, I've definitely
unless it's the play calls on 4th down.
I guess my point was a lot of people are just giving him shit for continuing to go for it on 4th down and some of those play calls that went along with the 4th down stuff, but definitely give me him over the other guy. But it's also week to week. Like the first week he called plays, they absolutely smashed and everyone loved it. This past week, they did not smash and played a tough team, and it didn't look very good. Now everyone's like pissed off with some of the play calling, and like a lot of the sports talk radio around here is like, well, the defense is so good, he should stop going for it on fourth down. The dude is never going to stop going for it on fourth down. It doesn't matter how good the defense is. Like, he is going to continue to do it. He has never not done it. Like, why would he all of a sudden change because of one game? So, but it is, you can see last year, again, we talked about the Gibbs stuff quite a bit, and they got fuzzy for a while just because a little rough patch they had. But last season, they would open up the games with David Montgomery, and Gibbs would be on the bench. Now they're just opening up the game with Gibbs, and Montgomery is just kind of like a breather for Gibbs, which is how it should be. And Gibbs is just so damn good that the spot is so elite. I love it this week.
Yeah, he played his most snaps all year, 75% last week in terms of percentage wise.
Yeah.
I mean, like I like him as a play caller versus who you guys had, because I think he just gets his elite players the football. I think he understands the game of football and just human, like, J-Mo needs it this time. Amon-Ra needs it. Like, you need to get others involved. So yeah, I mean, his decision making can always be questioned, but that's a different role. But I like Gibbs a lot this week. Yeah, I think like if he's going to get this play 75% of snaps, get 20 plus touches, I'll play him every single week. I think he's underpriced. Definitely prefer him to Bijan if choosing. After that, and obviously you don't need to choose because he's 200 cheaper. After that, like, I honestly am kind of torn. Like, I don't know what third running back. Genty, maybe at 6'3". I don't love it in cash. And then if you're going savings wise, like, I think
really
the tight ends are better value.
They did a really good job pricing. I mean, getting Jonathan Taylor to 10K, I like that. You know, they got Derrick Henry up there. They're favored by 2 touchdowns. Like, if he was in the 6K range, like, he would be a click for people. Saquon's where he should be. Like, everyone's priced appropriately. Like, they did a good job. There's not many free. Yes, you got the Manuel Wilson thing, Chase Brown, but everyone else, I think, is priced solidly, and nothing stands out, which is kind of how it should be. Make the decisions a little more difficult.
Yeah, I can't find like Javonte Williams. Like, I truly don't know. I think when we get to the tight end that they're cheap enough that we can now spend a little bit either at quarterback or now at receiver, we can get at least one stud.
Yeah, let's talk about tight end, because you kind of brought it up a couple times. And I mean, we talked about it last week. I think Trey McBride was 6,300 last week. Too cheap. Like, this guy is elite wide receiver 1. And it was just 10 more catches for 115 yards and a touchdown last week. I mean, he might be up there. Like, right now, his role might be up there with JSN, with Puka, with Amon-Ra, with, you know, whoever the top wide receiver is. His situation might be better than all those guys, if not the same. And he is just much cheaper. Like, I think in cash games, you find a way to do it, find a way to get him in there. And if that means you're playing 2 tight ends, like you mentioned, I think it's totally fine. But in cash games, you just have to click that. Like, it's just, he's too cheap. It's a bad price tag. So I think it's him. And then if you want another one, I don't know. There's a lot of guys. Let's see. Sort by value. We got Mason Taylor, Mark Andrews. You know, at that point, it's like, if they do something, it's fine, because you're just getting what you want with the rest of the lineup. But you're definitely clicking McBride, and you kind of already alluded to that.
Yeah, just like, so the value right now, 3.18, 2.87, 2.1, 2.78, 2.7. I'll go to running back. Sort that by running back. Let's see the comparison. So you got those 2 main guys, and then it shows Gibbs is pretty strong, but then you're looking at like 2.6, 2.5, 2.5, 2.4, 2.2. So that's kind of my point. You can now go back to tight end, but you're obviously playing those 2 really strong ones. After that, it kind of falls off. There's more just point per dollar value. And I think when we get to receiver, I think Amon-Ra is a super strong play. Again, just going back to Detroit's feeding their guys. So I want to spend up at one spot. So yeah, I think you're playing Trey McBride. He's one of your spends. And from there, you have multiple different options for value. Like the next, Kyle Pitts at 4.3. I know it's Kirk Cousins is back, but the thing with Kirk Cousins is, like, he's just so immobile and like uncomfy in the pocket. It's a lot of short routes. Like, right,
he can't throw it down the field anymore. So I mean, you know, if it's tight end might be his max throwing distance.
Exactly. And what is Drake London's status?
I think he said he's out. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, I think he is as well.
Doubtful. So yeah, I mean he's not going to play.
Yeah, I mean that's a big bump to usage for Kyle Pitts. So I think him at 4.3 is strong. If you don't want to play him, Hunter Henry at 3.9. Yeah, I mean he's shown the floor. I mean I've played him when he got like 1 or whatever it was against Tampa, but yeah, like Drake May's he's projecting really well. They're applied for 29 points. The Bengals might get Burrow back. That could push it even more. Flacco's not even bad anyway, so that's just a game environment I want to target. Really cheap for one of his favorite weapons. Mark Andrews, 3.8K. They're implied for a lot of points. Lamar's been loving Mark Andrews. And then I guess if Burrow plays, Noah Fant at 3.1. Gesicki's questionable too. So if Gesicki plays, maybe not as much. But otherwise, he ran a good amount of routes last week. Let me check. He had 6 targets. Take 6 targets. They should be trailing almost all game. Yeah, like 50% sample. Like he's a blocking tight end. So I think he'd be fine if you want to punt. And if you play Noah Fant, McBride, Emmanuel Wilson, you probably can get Gibbs, Amon-Ra. And that sounds like a pretty good team to me. Brissett or Lawrence, like, I don't know. You have decisions for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're playing Gibbs, you're probably playing Lawrence, Brissett. If you're going double cheap tight end, it's easier to get Mayer, Mahomes, like kind of stuff like that.
It's not a bad week with so many high team totals to try to hit on some of these if possible. Like get something from New England, get some Detroit pieces, get some, the KC, they're projected to score 27. Baltimore's projected to score 29. Like if you can just get pieces of as many of those spots as possible, it won't necessarily hurt you. At wide receiver, you got JSN on the slate. Amon-Ra at 8K, it's just too cheap. I mean, yeah, you kind of touched on that already. Just too cheap. It was bad. It was bad last week. I get it. There's drops. There was very bad passes from Goff. I mean, really bad passes from Goff. And then there's been talk. A lot of people have asked Goff about, what is the connection with Amon-Ra fading? Like, I just think this is going to be a massive spot for Amon-Ra. I think they're going to force him the ball this week. 8K, like, I would get him in there. Sort by value, though, and see no Jamar Chase. And so Sabre has a very aggressive projection on this Tinsley guy at 3K. I don't know. For me, that seems a little bit risky. I think that's a little bit too aggressive.
Definitely like 2.5 points higher than.
Yeah, right. So we'll just take it down to 6 and see where he ranks, because 8, that's too much. All right. So then Devonta Smith, Wandale, Amon-Ra, like we already talked about. Michael Wilson coming off like a 45 catch game at 4,800. AJ Brown, 59. Zay Flowers, 6'3". Seems wide open. I guess the one thing I will say, if you are loading up on Detroit guys, if you are going Gibbs, if you are going Amon-Ra, like playing Wandale gives you like natural correlation, and you don't necessarily have to do it in cash games, but in this scenario, I think it definitely makes sense. A guy that should get targeted a lot. You're already playing a lot of Detroit. You have the chance to work in some natural correlation. But I guess overall, the main point is Amon-Ra looks really nice. Then after that, I don't think there's any lock sort of plays. Yeah,
I agree. And yeah, I think he's a solid tournament play without Chase. Like that's kind of the Fant talk as well. But it's Yoshi Voss, him, and like he's the third behind Yoshi Voss. I don't hate it, but for cash, like just Kyle Pitts feels safer. Mark Andrews, Hunter Henry, decisions like that. And I don't think he needs to be a third receiver because, like, yeah, I agree with you on Amon-Ra. I think you're playing him at 8K right now. That price feels way too cheap. And then you have JMO at 5.7. You have Wandale at 5.5. Romeo Dobbs at 4.9. I mean, they're beat up. Obviously, no Kraft for the year. Probably no Josh Jacobs. Michael Wilson, 4.8K. I mean, like I'd be scared, I think, going into Sunday. He's not a lock, is Michael Wilson. But as of now, like I'm playing him if the slate locked right now. I'd be worried not having Michael Wilson in my team. Just from what he did last week, like him and Brissett's like rapport was really good. He was always open. He just looks like a beast. So 4,800 feels way too cheap still. I'm not sure how much more you need to go below that. Like, I guess like the Tinsley talk, like, I don't know. I probably don't need to go there when I can just go.
It is fine just from stuff. Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot. Like, if you're playing a 3K guy, like, if they fully bust, you're not dead. Like, you're going to have the ability to make up for a full-on bust. So if you like the guy, like, I have no issues with somebody playing. I'll never have many issues with people playing a 3K guy in cash, because many times, and you've been in the scenario before, where you have a 3K guy that gets 0 and you still, are above the cash line, or you can win head-to-heads, whatever it is. So if you like him, no problem. But not a lock or anything like that. I mean, he's going to probably still be the fourth option on the team. I mean, it's going to be, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, probably Yossi Bosch, and then him.
Yeah,
probably the tight end too. So he's not like a primary. But again, if he goes out and gets you 0, you're still alive.
Yeah, it just on a week where salary's not too tight, it's a little harder with a 0, 1, or 2. You really need your stud to smash. But yeah, no, I totally agree. If you like him, you like him. If you haven't projected at 8.23, he projects a lot better. I haven't projected like roughly around 6. But if Burrow's in, which right now I'm expecting he is, it could be worse. It should be throwing a lot. Nothing really more to add. I think you're playing probably Amon-Ra and 2. Yeah, I don't love it as much.
Yeah, I mean, this would just be like a Gibbs lineup probably, where you're not playing a cheap 2 tight ends, a cheap tight end, and it just depends how much you value Amon-Ra, really. Like, it's like he a priority for you this week or not is kind of what it comes down to. But we have cheap options where you can probably get.
You could get Dobbs, Wandale, and Michael Wilson. Like, those would probably be the 3. Or Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
If you're not playing Amon-Ra and you want to go JMO.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you got different ways to do it. I don't hate it. I mean, I definitely don't. There are options. Yeah, Wand, and then maybe one of the Philly guys. Like, Dallas's offense looked good. Can they push it a little bit and make Philly pass? Like, no one's really made Philly pass this year, but Devonta Smith and AJ Brown are as cheap as they've been all season. High risk, but I mean, there's options for sure. Parker Washington, if Brian Thomas Jr. is ruled out, like, I don't mind going back to him. So there's a lot of guys there if you want to go that route.
Yep. Defense.
Defense, yeah. Let's see if anything. So sorting by value, Browns at 29. Saints probably. I mean, that's probably what a lot of people play in cash. Saints at 2,500 at home against Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, that's where I would go to. Yeah. But it feels like always I end up on a random defense and it doesn't go my way. But yeah, right now that's who I'd plug in to start.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to flip to FanDuel. Do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe. Helps us out a ton. These videos are free every single week. They've been since we started, and they're going to remain that way. All we ask is like and subscribe on the video. And then, as always, this is kind of developing that player pool for cash games. On the website, we have core plays for FanDuel and DraftKings to get you started in your lineup. So head on over to shippingnation.com. As you can see on the top here, 5 days for $19. So you can give us a try that way. We'd love to have you. You can get in our Discord. Nice, friendly environment for everyone. Let's look at quarterback sorting by salary. So they kind of flipped it a little bit where they got these main runners at the top with Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. I mean, the way the Eagles offense is going, I just don't know how you could click the name. I mean, maybe in tournaments, Dallas put up a lot of points. Maybe they find a way to push the pace a little bit, but these Eagles games have been painful from an offensive standpoint. Drake May, Patrick Mahomes looks like to have a really good price tag here at $8,100. So $300 cheaper than Drake May. We're kind of talking about those two over on DK. It might just be him. Let's see. It may, when you sort by price, it's probably going to be easier. We'll see when we go through it all, but it's probably going to be easier to spend up a little bit on DK. But Mahomes definitely stands out to me. Where's our guy Brissett? So Brissett's more expensive than Lawrence, which I think is the same as DK. Probably the same conversation, but to me, Mahomes might stand out here at 81.
Bingo. I got it the same way. I think all four are in play, but Mahomes is my lean right now.
Yeah.
With the savings off of May, and then FanDuel to usually a little easier to spend up. So yeah, I think you said everything perfectly.
Gosh, this is one spot where they've struggled, like on defense on FanDuel. Like, are they just like just randomly throwing shit out there? It seems like, because Raiders, I think, are the most they're right up there. They're like 3,500 on DK. They're 37 on FanDuel at home against Sanders. Like, that is a huge misprice, and probably just
I mean, there you go. You're definitely clicking that.
Yeah, that is like they could be 5K this week. Like, they could be the top defense. And I mean, you sort by Sabres projections here, and they're a full point ahead of everyone else, and they're 37. So there's a free square for you. All right,
there
let's
you
go. See if we can find some more. Okay, here's a couple more. Chase Brown under 7K, Emmanuel Wilson 65. I think you're probably clicking in. So the FanDuel is going to be much more clear cut, I think, than DK is this week. So you got a couple here. If you want to spend, you got Jahmyr Gibbs at 91, Genty at 7.4. Like, that's nice. If you do want to go the Trey McBride route, which you said he's very expensive, 85. So they got him way up there. But yeah, it's probably the same stuff here. I mean, Brown, Wilson, Gibbs. I think Genty's definitely more appealing over here. Definitely more appealing over here than over on DK. I mean, 774, and then on DK he's like, what, 6'3". See if anything else stands out. No, not too much. But what are you thinking here?
Yeah, so Kamara's questionable. If he were to miss, looking up, Devin Neal, 5.2 on FanDuel, 4.3 on DK. That'd be interesting for sure. That could add a wrinkle into things. Not saying he'd be a lock, but he would definitely be someone we have to consider. And if Kamara's in, the reason I mentioned that too, because I was looking at Kamara, he has a cheap price tag on FanDuel. I mean, it's been bad, it's been scary, but he's 6.1K. The game should be competitive against the Falcons. Neal 5.2 would be interesting, but I think you're for sure playing Chase Brown. Emmanuel Wilson is a little more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DK, so I don't think he's a lock, but I still think he's my lean right now in a really strong play. And then you usually play 3 running backs on FanDuel, and I think you do again this week. And I think it's Gibbs 9.1, Derrick Henry 8.4, Genty 7.4, like you mentioned. Or yeah, like Neal / Kamara if you want to save a little bit. But I think it's Chase Brown for sure. More than likely Emmanuel Wilson. But like if I had the money and I went Gibbs, Henry, Chase Brown, I think I would be fine with that as well. But yeah, monitor Kamara news.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, 6-1 if he's in and full go and at home, favored. Probably the last time they're favored. I think they play the Jets too, so they might have another opportunity. But 6-1's a good price tag for him if he's in. So that's
the schedule well for best ball.
Or for Survivor. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's true. I'm not 100% that.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I do want to. Yeah, they have the Jets in week 16. So one more good spot. We'll follow the same format. We'll go to tight end and talk about that. Much better job here pricing, like you said. McBride 8.5, Bauer 7.4, Warren 6.5. So basically like 1,000 apart. Sort by value. Pitt's under 5K, 4,900. That's appealing. Kelsey coming off a big game at 6K. So definitely not as clear cut as DK. Like DK was you're playing McBride and maybe another on FanDuel. Like what you do at running back, and then when we get to wide receivers, probably going to dictate what you do here at tight end, because I don't think it's clear at all. And I'd be fine. I guess, you're playing Pitts and it's basically a punt. Like you're punting it off at 49. Like I'd be fine playing Pitts at 49. So what are you thinking here?
I think that's my lean right now. I mean, that's just a really cheap price tag, but it's not a lock. Like what you do at other positions. Like if Kamara's out and opens up Neal, like McBride's already in play there. So little injuries could shift it. Right now I'm probably playing Pitts, but it's close. Like I think Kelsey's price tag at 6K. If you have 1,100, I don't hate it. I also don't hate Hunter Henry for 400 more. Like if you're really weary on Kirk Cousins, getting a option 2, you could say, or whatever, behind Diggs on a team with a 29 total, like that seems pretty good against one of the worst defenses. So yeah, again, because of Drake London being out and they're playing the Saints, like Pitts is going to project fine, but there's definitely a lot of worry in that as well. So I think tight end's tough on FanDuel.
Yeah, and going the Hunter Henry route gets you kind of exposure to another one of those offenses that's projected to score, I don't know, like right around 30. There's a bunch of them, and Patriots are definitely one in a really good spot. So if you do choose that route, just a way to get more exposure to one of those teams. So it's a very wide open position. Like, do you see any path where you would pay up for McBride?
Yeah, no, I do.
Okay. Yeah,
And then maybe I go Lawrence or Brissett on that, but like Emmanuel Wilson, Chase, maybe I would go Kamara on a team like that. That gets me McBride. Like it's hard to go Gibbs McBride and full punt wide receiver, but yeah, no, I think McBride's very much in play. I do, but right now, if the slate locked, I'm probably playing Kyle Pitts if I had to guess.
Yeah. I guess one other thing, like we haven't talked about it a ton, like T Higgins, if Burrow is in, like, what's the price on DK? Just curious on that.
It's definitely better on FanDuel.
Is it better on FanDuel? Yeah, because there has to be
fits
some
better. 7-1.
7-1, yeah.
On DK, and he's 7-5 on FanDuel. But just how the pricing is on FanDuel and the half point fits him, touchdown upside.
Yeah, and you got Amon-Ra pretty expensive at 9.2. JSN's way up there at 9.8, 9K for CD. So yeah, I don't mind the Higgins 7.5. Wandale under 6K, fine option. Parker Washington 5.7. Same thing here with this Tinsley at 41. I guess, they got him projected for 6. Take it down to 5, and he kind of disappears. Michael Wilson 6'3". I don't know. I'd say wide receiver probably not as clear, just because like Amon-Ra at 9.2, I don't think is as much of as close to a lock. Like on DK at 8K, I would play him. Like on FanDuel at 9.2, I think it's definitely more of a conversation. Depends what you're doing in other spots. So it seems pretty wide open to me at wide receiver here.
I agree. I think it's the hardest position. The spend up options, JSN and Amon-Ra are definitely still in play. It depends on kind of like what you're doing. Are you playing Kyle Pitts? Are you maybe going cheap at running back 3? If you do, you have the money to play JSN, Amon-Ra, Rashee Rice, T. Higgins if you need a little savings. I really am good with all those guys. Going down more, I think Michael Wilson, Stephon Diggs are super strong in the 6K range. And then Romeo Doubs is also a value piece. Again, no Jacobs, Kraft out for the year. Like Doubs has a really big role. He's wide receiver 1. Wandale probably is the price that sticks out most to me, though. 5.9K. Like whatever you do at any other position, he'll grade out really well. The targets are great for him. What was it, 9 last week?
Yeah.
I just had up like 9, 11, 11 or something.
11, 11, 9 in the last 3. There was a 4 and then 12 before that. So it hasn't really mattered who's at quarterback. He's getting targeted.
Yeah, exactly. So, they're going to be chucking it probably for 4 quarters. So, yeah, I like Wandale's price. And I think that's probably it. Like, I don't see too many spend downs. Like, I think I would just go like Wandale, Romeo, Michael Wilson, and Diggs or something like that if that's how I want to get out cheap. I don't think I would full punt.
So I guess not as like clear as the beginning. Like I feel good at quarter. I think it's clear what you're doing at quarterback, kind of defense for sure. 1 or 2 of the running back spots on FanDuel, but tight ends wide open and wide receivers wide open.
Yeah, so I actually think FanDuel might be harder than DK.
Yeah. It started out the opposite when we started talking.
Yeah, when we started talking.
It's like wide
just
open.
Tough.
Yeah, the pass catchers are just it's wide open. So as always, those and tight end, wide receiver and tight end. The core plays will be posted and updated all the way through Sunday to kind of get you started on those roster construction builds. And then you can get in the Discord and ask any additional questions that you may have. But any final thoughts before we get out?
No, I'm excited. The more we talk through it too, I kind of like in the back of my head thinking tournaments wise, like Tinsley, he's interesting that way. But when quarterbacks spread out in cash games, you really know it's going to be spread out in tournaments, and that's going to make for a pretty fun slate.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun slate, 11 games, a lot of big game totals, team totals. So looking forward to it. Make sure also tune in Sunday morning where we'll be breaking down the entire slate, myself, Title, and Tambo. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern. We appreciate your support on the show. Good luck to everyone in your contest. We'll be back next week.